Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I am Matt. Hope you're all doing well. Today, we are going to take a look at the Vaporesso Gen mod. Been really excited to do this video. This one is a dual 18650 mod that has their new Axon chip inside. So let's go ahead and dive into it. This is what your packaging is going to look like. So inside you will of course have your mod, and then you get a manual that's not very detailed, this little envelope, QC card, warranty card, and a micro USB charging and upgrade cable. So this thing's about 93 millimeters tall, about 53 millimeters wide, and about 26.5 millimeters at its thickest point up here. So up to about a 26 millimeter Addy will look good on this. You do have a centered 510, spring-loaded fire button right here. Controls, up, down, and then a little mode button in the center. Micro USB charge and upgrade port. This does have 2.5 amp charging if you decide to charge your batteries internally. I still think it's better to do it in a separate charger, but you know, if you're in a pinch, you could definitely charge your batteries inside and it'll charge them up pretty damn fast. Venting on the bottom there. And just in faint writing, you can see it says Gen, but that says sample. Vaporesso logo on that side. Vaporesso right there. And you got these bronze accents throughout. This one's a gradient, basically a black to a red, and it's very, very lightweight. I think they say this thing is 107 grams. I don't think it's zinc alloy. They say there's like 4 layers of whatever this coating in that gives it a really grippy, nice feel to it. But the metal, I couldn't find online what that is. Probably aluminum or something, but it feels very, very solid, but very, very lightweight. To get into your battery compartment, pull up like so, and there is what your battery door looks like. Magnets, got a little caution warning, and it's also got this layer of plastic here to keep your batteries from shorting out if they had a rip in them, but you obviously still don't want to use batteries that have a rip. On the inside there, it says Axon chip. You got your battery tray, designed by Vaporesso, made in China, running in series, spring-loaded contacts, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and install some batteries. Let's put that door on. And once it clicks into place there's absolutely zero movement on this thing. Very impressive. So now, this is the new Axon chip. It basically takes what the Omni chip that Vaporesso has used for a long time did and adds a couple new features. I'm sure they're going to be using this chip in a lot of different mods with probably a lot of different types of displays. They're probably going to have one that's going to be colored and stuff like that. But this one, they're going more for simplicity, more of that drag style screen, as you can see. So on that home screen, you do have your battery meter. It's going to show your ohm load, your seconds puffed, your wattage, and we are right now in pulse mode. Now, if you click the mode button 3 times, you can see we're in pulse mode, right? What pulse mode does, they don't explain it super well on their website, but basically with a lot of mods, when you're using them in high wattage, they'll jump up to that 120 watts or whatever, and then throughout the vape, it'll kind of slowly trickle off, and you're not getting that 120 anymore. With the pulse, it's supposed to give you these pulses. You don't feel it when you're vaping though, but it's supposed to give you more of that steady wattage, if that makes sense. So you don't have that drop off in performance. Let's go back into that menu. 1, 2, 3. Next up is Power Echo, and you can use this to try to save battery life. Basically, it optimizes your settings so you have as much battery life as possible. So you can use this when your batteries are getting low and you don't have access to new batteries or a charger, or you can use it throughout the whole life of the batteries because you don't want to have to charge sometime in the middle of the day or whatever because you're out and about. So it can be a useful feature. Next up is Smart TC. This is a mode that you can use where it basically reads the coil you put on there and it gives you the best options for TC mode. So you don't have to dial in stainless steel or dial in TCRs or nickel or any of that. Pretty cool feature. Next up, DIY mode. We saw this in the Omni board. You got variable wattage, your temperature, variable voltage, custom curves, bypass, super player mode, then exit. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to go into variable wattage, you could then do variable wattage soft, normal, hard. That's just your preheat. Variable temperature, you can pick your metal manually here if you wanted to. Okay, and set your resistance. Variable voltage, obviously that's self-explanatory. Custom curves Here is where you could set your curves. Bypass, that's just using the voltage off of the batteries. Super player mode, they've had that in the Omniboard as well. That basically will fire very low ohm resistance coils. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you put a 0.05 ohm build on here and just use it, but that super player mode can be handy when, you know, like when you put a new build in and you want to start pulsing, but sometimes it reads too low, especially with like, you know, NI80 types of coils or whatever, like it'll start reading at, you know, 0.07 or something, but once you have them glowing evenly, it goes up to like 0.12, 0.13. Super player mode can be handy for that because a lot of times with regulated mods, it won't let you pulse those coils at all because the resistance is reading too low. So after DIY mode, you have system settings right here, puff counter, you can reset, brightness, you can adjust, flip screen, default settings, and then version, then exit, and then finally, exit choice, okay? Now, if you want to lock these controls right here, 3 clicks. Now it's locked, but you could still fire, but I don't have an atomizer on here. Speaking of which, I'm gonna put one on right now. It's gonna ask me new or old load. We'll say new. Scanning the coil, and it's saying it's 0.13. Now, this does scroll in 0.1 watt increments until you get to above 100, and now it's 1 watt increments. Nice fast scroller. Goes up to 220 watts, but does not round robin, unfortunately. And then, of course, if you want to turn this off, 5 clicks. So there's a look at it in my hand. Very, very comfortable. Love this grippy texture. It's got those dimples on it. Feels really, really nice. Not like super rubberized, but a little rubberized and just very grippy. Nice looking mod. Only thing I could have done without is the bronze accents, honestly. I wish that those were just stainless steel or something. Now, it is a little bit larger of a mod for a dual 18650. There it is next to the Drag 2 Platinum. And as you can see, it's a good, 4 or 5 millimeters taller, a little bit wider. And here's this purplish blue one I've been using. All right, guys, let's go ahead, go up top, vape these, and talk about them a little more. Okay, so first off, let me start out by saying this is my favorite mod so far this year. After this, I would have to say it's probably the Minikin 3, the Foxy Druga 1.2. We haven't seen as many dual battery mods so far this year, so there hasn't been a huge field, but out of all of them, this is definitely my favorite so far this year. But with this red one, which I hadn't used yet, I've been using this purplish blue one. Each time I go to fire, I get a short atomizer after a second or two. And I tried a bunch of different atomizers on this, and I used them on this one to make sure it wasn't just something wrong with the atomizers and not the mod. But with this one, no matter what, and I've set the default again, I've rebooted it, I've tried different batteries, I've tried everything, I'm getting this atomizer short after a couple seconds, which is kind of a bummer. Like I said, this is a sample, so hopefully they have any issues ironed out with the production versions. Now with this one, I didn't have that issue at all. And so let's go ahead and vape it. I have it in pulse mode, 80 watts. It's reading 0.13. Airflow is wide open on the Passage RDA. Here we go. Now, like I said, you don't feel the pulsing or anything, but it does seem like it's a nice constant wattage. I'm going to put it in echo mode. And let's see if there's a big difference there at 80 watts. Make sure it went to, oh. There we go. And yeah, it seems like it ramps up right at the beginning in echo mode, but then it trickles off. So anyway, besides me having a faulty unit here, let's go ahead and talk pros and cons. Cons first. Not a lot. There really isn't a lot, and most of it's just an aesthetic thing. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the bronze buttons here. I would have liked to have seen stainless steel, especially for those people that want to use a stainless steel Addy on top. Would have been better if, they went with some kind of more neutral option. Because if you got a stainless steel Addy on top and then you got a bronze button on the side, it's a little mismatch. Yeah, it's a minor complaint. A lot of people won't care, but worth mentioning. Also, while I don't really find it as a con because I have big hands and it still, you know, fits fine in my pocket, it's pretty big for a dual 18650 mod. So here's a drag too. It's quite a bit taller and a bit wider, but it is lighter though, which is cool. It's lighter than the Drag 2, but it's on the larger side when it comes to dual 18650 mods. Besides that, there's not much I can complain about. I freaking love this mod. I love the simple board layout. You know, if you remember in 2017, the original Drag was my favorite mod. Last year, it was tough, probably the Proton. This year, obviously, we have another 6 months or so, so we'll see what else comes out. But I mean, I just like simple boards that aren't flashy. You can get through everything really easily. Getting through the different menu features is awesome. And the new features on this Axon board are really cool as well. The Pulse, the Echo. And if you put like a TC tank on top of here, when it goes to scan it, it'll instantly say, do you want to use smart TC mode with this? It instantly knows that that's a TC compatible metal. So very, very cool. And of course, like the Omni board, it has all the other features like your super player mode, your custom curves, your bypass, your variable voltage, so on and so forth. So it's a really solid chip and a pretty easy interface. Love that they give you that extra mode button here, which makes things a bit easier. Build quality on it is freaking fantastic. There is no play whatsoever in this door. I love how lightweight it is, and I love the finish on this as well. I mean, this is a gush fest. I freaking love this mod. It's definitely my favorite of the year so far. There's no doubt about it. Just really freaking wish that this red one would work because I like the look of it a little better than this purplish blue one. Now, as far as price goes, I think this is going to be in that $60 range, and they're also going to offer it in a kit with their Skur tank or one of the new Skur tanks. I didn't get that, just the mod itself. So I like that they're selling the mod separately too, and you don't have to just buy it in a kit. I believe it's going to come in multiple colors as well. So all in all, like I said, I freaking love it. I have a few minor nitpicky cons. I love this new Axon board. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. I love the contours. It's very ergonomic and comfortable, even though, yeah, it just looks kind of like a box mod. Just really wish this red one would work, like I said. All right, let's go ahead and end it there, folks. That about wraps it up. Until next time, thanks for watching. Suck my mod.